Wingato. For those of you who don't know, that is from one of my favorite Disney movies. That is a Powhatan way of saying hello from the movie Pocahontas. So I believe that we were all raised by Walt Disney Animation. It's something that has been around for quite some time now, and it's just been a part of everyone's childhood. And one thing that all of these movies have in common is that they are all hand-drawn animations. And I don't know if many of you know, but hand-drawn animation is actually now being considered the extinct art form, or a dying art form. So today I kind of want to preview for you the origin of full-length feature animations. I kind of want to give you some examples using some of my favorite movies, and then also show you what the threat is to a hand-drawn animation. So the first feature-length animated movie that was released was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So this movie was kind of revolutionary. Walt Disney wanted to produce this movie for quite some time, and there was a lot of backlash. A lot of people told him that this was going to be a mistake, that he would basically be ruining his career. Many people dubbed this movie Disney's Folly. So the reason why was because everyone was thinking, who's going to want to sit through a 2-hour movie with no actors in it? The answer to that is basically everyone, because when the movie premiered at the Carthay Circle Theater in 1937, it was a packed house. They sold out immediately, and it was just such a success. It actually warranted a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which was one of the firsts for a fictional character. It also got Walt Disney an Academy Award, followed by 7 smaller Academy Awards to pay homage to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And it was presented to him by Shirley Temple. So, why is hand-drawn animation so special? It's something that's really special because much like Snow White, it kind of the animators can mold the characters to whatever they wanted them to be, which is something that cannot be done with actors. So, and it also showcased a lot of new technologies that were never heard of during that time. So I want to use Sleeping Beauty as an example, because this is one of the first movies that used multi-plane technology, which allowed the animators to stack different animations on top of each other, giving the animations depth perception. And this movie really used that method a lot, because there would be scenes where you would see Sleeping Beauty walking through the forest, and you see trees moving around her. And this was something that was just so unheard of, and it looked so real, but it wasn't. Also with Prince Philip fighting Maleficent, you see everything kind of going on around you inside of the movie, and it's just really fully immersive. So the next movie is The Little Mermaid. This movie was one of the most successful animated movies that was ever released by the Walt Disney Company. It made $211 million worldwide in 1989, which was a very, very big deal. And it had a lot of amazing songs that came from the movie. It was just really well-rounded. It was a well-rounded movie. And then we come to my favorite, which is Pocahontas. And Pocahontas is amazing because it was released during the Renaissance period, as they called it. And during the Renaissance, it was much like the actual Renaissance, and it was a rebirth of hand-drawn animation. For 4 years, hand-drawn animated movies were kind of being released one right after the other. This was Pocahontas, Hercules, Mulan. They were all coming out at the same time, and they were all so well done. The colors were vibrant, it was astounding, everything about them was just so beautiful to look at. And then we have Princess and the Frog, which was the last hand-drawn animated movie to be released. It was released in 2009, and it was just breathtaking. It was an amazing movie. It was so visually just pretty to look at. And sadly, this is actually one of the last movies that was ever released in hand-drawn animation. So it kind of asks it begs the question, what is the threat to hand-drawn animated movies? And it's that guy. It's Baymax. No, I mean, it's not actually Baymax, but it's kind of what he's made out of, which is computer-generated imagery animation, or CGI for short. So it was all these movies like Bolt, Frozen, Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph. All of these are produced with CGI, which kind of gives them a lifelike appearance, and they're obviously produced with computers. So these movies are beautiful in their own right. Oh, there she is too. They kind of allow for it to be a lot more about the environment, and it allows them the animators to kind of show the facial features a little bit better. But in my opinion, they're not one and the same. They're two different things. I don't believe that they should be lumped together. It should not be said that this method of storytelling is better than hand-drawn animation. So this is Bob Iger, and he's actually the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and he released a statement saying that there are no plans to produce any more hand-drawn animated movies, and they actually went as far as to lay off the entire hand-drawn animated division at the studios. And this is something that's very sad to me because I really hold these movies very near and dear to my heart. So, in conclusion, I just kind of wanted to show you how beautiful these movies are, what the threat is, where they came from, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of these hand-drawn animated movies in the future. Thank you.
All right, Adrian, there's so many things in the speech that work really well that it's kind of, unpleasant to pick out the 2 or 3 things that are problematic. But I want to start with those things so that we can get them out of the way, and then we can talk about all the pleasant stuff. And one of them is sort of strange because your body movement, you stand to the side when you do the first presentation, and I thought that was pretty effective. You move to the other side when you were changed subjects. I thought that was pretty effective. So you're doing the right thing there, and then when you're standing there, you start giving your speech to the screen. And it's like, I could see that you had thought, I'm going to be careful and deliberative on that one thing, and then the other thing, you just kind of got entranced with your visuals, and you start looking at them. And that, I think, is problematic. You got to remember, we're out here. You're talking to us. The subject matter is important. That's what you want to talk about, but it's your relationship with us that's important also. And you don't want to become the narrator of the slideshow. You want to be the speaker that we're focusing on, and the slides are backing you up. And when you turn and face the slides, then it's suddenly like you're telling everybody, signaling people non-verbally, this is where all the action is, not here. So you got to be careful about that. All right, so so your eye contact, like I said, is inconsistent, and the body movement, there's a good thing about it, but there's also the negative thing about it. Right. So that's the negative stuff, Everything else I think is really solid. I thought your vocal presentation was excellent. It's also very smooth. You've got the cute little greeting that you have at the beginning. There's a nice transition to the topic. It flows very effectively when you're speaking. You're not dependent on the script. When you do look at us, and you do a better job in the first section than you did in the second section. The second section is kind of where the wheels come off a little bit on your audience contact. You're doing better in the first section. You come across very sincere. There's a lot of enthusiasm in your voice, and it's energetic. I do feel a little problematic. It's a little problematic that you have the lights off the whole time. Turning off the lights to let us see a couple of things I think would be helpful, but I'm not sure you have to have them off for the whole thing. And all of a sudden, well, you're going to see when you watch your video, you're in the dark most of the time, and you become, like I said, sort of a creature off to the side. And then once again, it emphasizes the screen is where all the action is instead of you as the speaker. So I think you want to be a little bit careful about that. But all the vocal stuff, all the paralinguistic stuff, I thought was excellent. Everything in the introduction I thought was really excellent. It was just a couple of those visual factors that are problematic. And I thought the speech was really nicely prepared. If I was just looking at the visuals, for instance, and seeing how they were integrated in the speech, maybe a little overdone in a couple of spots, but it's all fun. Like if you were doing a 10-minute informative speech and you included everything that you had there, I think it probably would work out really well. As it was, it's 6 minutes, so it's a little overstuffed in a couple of spots. But it's not that any of it wasn't unpleasant. It was all really pleasant. A lot of nice things there to enjoy and appreciate. All right, I think I'd like to know a little bit more about, is anybody doing hand-painted animation, that kind of thing. I know that was the Disney tradition, and it's not on the table anymore. What's going, and they've laid off their department. That's what's going on with Disney. But is it like you said, is it dead? If it's dead, how are we going to revive the dead? How is that ever going to happen or be different? Unless there's some person out there who really believes in the hand-painted animation and has a story idea that they want, that they're going to carry forward and focus on. Is there anybody like that? Is there one of those well-known animators that crusades for those sorts of things? All of the Japanese animation that's been done. What's his name? Miyagi? Miyazaki. It's like that's all that hand-painted kind of stuff, and he's pretty much done. He's moving on with his life, and he's not going to be doing those things anymore. And so it's maybe a little more context. But that's a minor quibble, mostly because I'm interested in the subject.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.